Chapter 5 Honey Gloomers. Leah awoke to cursing.
Oh my God! Oh, the deceit! The treachery!
A male voice.
What is this? What is this?
More cursing.
I should have known. I should have suspected.
It was Jacob. She sprang up to the sight of Jacob staring down at her like she was an abomination.
How did this happen?
His eyes grew wild.
Father said I can explain.
Leah stuttered, gathering the cover cloth around her body.
Did I lie with you? Or is this some sort of trick?
She reached out, seeking the right words to calm him.
My husband.
Your what? Oh God of my fathers, how could this be?
He held his head in his hands, then turning to her, he yelled.
How could this be?
Leah withdrew, frightened by the violent rage she saw in his eyes. He blurted out a foul word and stomped out of the tent. Leah crumbled and wept bitterly. She had encouraged herself that since Jacob enjoyed her so much, he wouldn't moan so much about Rachel in the morning. But this wasn't moaning, and never had she felt such rejection. Laban stood in front of his tent. He yawned broadly. It was barely sunrise and most of the camp was still fast asleep. Knowing what confrontation awaited him in the morning, his own night was far from relaxing. He had thought of possible ways to escape Jacob's rage, but dismissed them. Better to face him now. It wasn't the end of the world. This was all carefully planned out.
You tricked me!
Jacob's voice came up behind him. Laban turned around to see his dark countenance.
Jacob.
Laban took a step back cautiously and forced a smile.
You have a reason, brother.
I served you 7 years.
Jacob's voice trembled with rage. The young man sounded close to tears.
Yes, and I gave you the bride.
I served you for Rachel. I am betrothed to Rachel.
The sight of Leah on his bed must have devastated him. Too late.
Yes, but Jacob, you must consider that Rachel has an older sister who is unmarried. Surely, a servant of Yahweh will not be so cruel to think I will be unjust to my own daughter.
He chuckled nervously.
Besides, it is not our custom.
Your customs?
Jacob swore in frustration.
Does your custom encourage you to break our agreement without my knowledge?
Laban raised his brows, pretending to be surprised.
Oh, but Jacob, Rachel is still betrothed to you. I am a man of my word.
He observed with satisfaction as Jacob's anger turned to confusion.
So give me my wife.
Of course, Jacob. You will get your wife. Complete Leah's ceremonial week, and I will give you Rachel also.
You suggest I be married to sisters?
But why not? What other options have we here?
I have the right to throw your daughter out, for I was never betrothed to her. God and all the elders will back my actions as just.
Laban twiddled his fingers and stared solemnly at the ground.
Poor Leah. I only ever wanted to do her good, and now it seems I've ruined her forever.
Lifting his gaze to Jacob, he thought he saw a flash of pity and quickly seized the opportunity.
She is completely at your mercy.
Jacob couldn't believe his plight. Laban's disturbingly calm speech showed he had rehearsed every word. He was usually a step ahead of such craftiness, but not this time. His excitement to finally be with Rachel had blinded him to the possibility of what a deceitful old man might do with his unmarried older daughter. Now, what choice had he? Jacob considered his options. He could abandon Leah and leave as soon as he got Rachel. 1 week was nothing to be compared with the years he had waited. But where would he go? With no possessions of his own. Even after 7 years, he dreaded meeting his brother in Canaan. He felt a pang of pity for Leah's situation, but he was actually at Laban's mercy and knew the man was fully aware of it.
I accept.
Jacob said dryly and began walking away. He could no longer stand his uncle. Now that his 7 years of service were over, he would henceforth demand wages for his work and start planning his departure.
Oh, but Jacob,
Laban called out to him.
we are yet to discuss what you shall offer me for Rachel.
Jacob froze to a halt. Had he underestimated Laban again?
I have worked 7 years!
He said, turning around.
Yes, but under the circumstances, that would have to be counted as bride price for Leah, you see.
I was your servant all these years and demanded nothing except what was promised me. You know very well I have no possessions of my own. Rather, your own wealth has greatly increased because of me.
Oh, it really is a predicament.
Laban rubbed his chin in concerned deliberation.
But you see, I couldn't dishonor my daughter and give her away for nothing. There are men around who will pay a huge wad of gold for her.
Do you only think of your daughters as items to be sold for your gain? Do you ever?
Not to worry, Jacob. You are my beloved. I won't leave you without assistance.
Jacob clenched his fist, waiting for his uncle's clever proposition. He was now getting used to this.
You will stay here and work for me another 7 years. That is enough for me.
Laban beamed from ear to ear, twiddling his fingers. For the first time in all his life, Jacob felt truly trapped. His uncle was a crafty genius. He tightened his already clenched fist, fighting the urge to slap the silly grin off his face. His love for Rachel restrained him. Remembering how beautiful she looked the day before, his heart ached with longing for her.
Where have you kept Rachel?
Rachel is visiting her relatives. She'll be back in a week, just in time for your wedding.
1 week. No need throwing another feast. Just give me my wife.
Jacob walked away. Laban would pay for this, he and his devious daughter. Leah stood trembling as she waited outside their tent for Jacob's return. She saw Zilpah rush into her.
Oh, my lady!
She said, her face ashen.
You have only 1 week to be a wife before your husband gets married again. To your sister!
Leah shut her eyes as the girl trailed on about father's demands and Jacob's agreement to work an extra 7 years. She felt faint.
The gods curse father.
He had succeeded in getting rid of her, but now he would give his precious Rachel to be a rival wife. She wondered what it felt like to be Rachel. How it felt to have a man work several years to be with you, and then agree to an extra 7 years. How did it feel to be loved so? She would never know.
Oh, my lady, you must truly love him.
Zilpah said as she wiped the tears streaming down Leah's cheeks. But Leah wasn't sure why she was weeping. Was it her love for Jacob or her crushed desire for his acceptance? How could she believe taking her sister's husband would end well? Zilpah was watching the confusion on her face curiously. Leah took the girl's hands and held them tightly. She had never felt so alone and desperate.
Have you ever filled yourself up with what you didn't care for simply because you were too hungry?
The concern in Zilpah's eyes deepened to pity.
Why, yes, my lady.
Leah gave a weak smile.
The stomach will recover from that a lot quicker than the heart.
After 7 miserable days of ceremony, Leah's husband wedded again. She watched as he celebrated his new wife. Rachel's mourning as a wife was a world different from hers. Jacob paraded her around the tents. He was proud of her. He had begun an extra 7 years of slavery for father, but there was neither yelling nor cursing. He was in love.